Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Rosnita from Excel Academy, and I am your host for today. Good afternoon to all of you, and thank you for joining our learning hour for this week. Today, we have the pleasure of having Miss Adila with us to discuss an exciting topic: Excel hack, fastest, most effective way to boost productivity with Excel. If you have any question related to this topic, please feel free to leave them in the comment section and Miss Adila will address them right after her presentation. Okay, without further ado, I will now hand over the session to Miss Adila.
All right. Hi, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone. So firstly, thank you so much, Kak Rose, for the wonderful introduction. So welcome to the Excel Academy Learning Hour webinar session. And today, I will conduct the session in relation to Microsoft Excel. All right. So let me share with you what are some of the functions that we'll be covering for today. So I will now share my screen. All right. So here we have the topic of Excel hack, fastest, most effective way to boost productivity with Excel. And for today, within an hour, I will be covering 5 of these functions and formula inside Excel, which includes find and replace, len, L-E-N, pivot table, text to column, as well as VLOOKUP. So I hope by learning about all of these 5 functions and formula, you will be able to boost your productivity at your workplace or when you are studying. Okay, so I will stop share here first and let's go through the first topic, which is find and replace. So let me open an example file here. All right, so here we have the find and replace, and let me share my screen. All right, so here we have a simple data. All right, example here, roller coaster, amusement park, type, design, status, open, and speed in miles per hour. Okay, so find and replace, you can find it under the home tab here. All right, at the top here, you can see there's a title, file, home, insert, etc. So that we refer to as tab. All right, and then if you see within home itself, you can be there's another subtopic such as clipboard, font, alignment, number, and so on. This one I would refer them as ribbon. So by knowing the keyword, which is tab and also ribbon, during this session, I hope you won't get lost and we know which part we are covering right now and where we are. All right. So here you can find and replace function under home tab. And if you go to the final ribbon here, editing, you can see there's find and select. And here you have find and also replace. So that is when you want to navigate through your tab and also ribbon. Alternatively, you can just use the shortcut key. All right, you can click on your Control F. Okay, so just click on Control key at the bottom left of your keyboard and just click together with the letter F. So Control F will directly bring you to find and replace here. And you can click on replace so that you can set what word do you want to find and what word do you want to replace it. Okay. So why does find and replace helps to boost your productivity? Not only in Excel, but also with other Microsoft Offices, the other ones such as Word and also PowerPoint, right? Sometimes if there is any amendment in your data, example, for the month of August, all right, you need to change everything to the month of September. Previously, or if we don't know about the existence of find and replace function, what do? We would manually change it one by one, right? We'll vet through the documents inside Word, we'll vet through the document through PowerPoint and even Excel through our data, and we may have find and replace it manually one by one. That's fine, all right, but it will take a lot of your time. So here, by using find and replace, first you would be able to minimize the error of, leaving something behind. All right, let's say what if one of the August date, you accidentally didn't change it to September, right? So we want to minimize all of that error, okay? So here, find and replace, you can either again use the home tab and editing ribbon, click on find and select here, click on replace. Okay, so there's a, here you can see first row find what, the second one is replace with. For the second one, we can try and use Control F. It will still bring us to the same place for find and replace. All right, so that is where you can find your find and replace. Now, let's have a look at column C. Okay, if you read through column C here for type, we have the word copper as well as gold. So let's say I want to change the word copper to steel. Okay, so what I can do is, first, I highlight column C. All right. The reason why I highlight here, because what if there is copper in other parts of the data? Okay. If I don't highlight any particular column, if I straight away click on Control F and I perform the find and replace, Excel will change every single word in copper inside the worksheet and change it to steel. Okay, that's fine if that is your intention. You want to change every single word from copper to steel. But in this case, if I only want it to apply in column C, it's best if I highlight column C first. All right, so it won't interrupt any other column. Okay, so here I highlight column C, Control F. Let's click on replace. So find what, I will put here copper. Replace with, I will put here as steel. Now, if you have question about case sensitive, okay, under find what, it's not case sensitive. So example here, it's capital C. I just put here lowercase copper, right? That's fine. Excel will be able to identify copper. But what you have to be careful of is the part of replace with. If you put here all in lowercase for steel, then it will be replaced with all lowercase, all right? So if you want to make sure that it is nice, okay, you want that capital S, then when you input under replace with, make sure your S letter is uppercase for the word still, right? So here, let me click on replace all. What does it say? It says all done, we made 46 replacement, okay? So for every copper word under the column C has now been replaced with the word still, okay? So if I write further down, no copper word has been found. Okay, everything has been converted accordingly, has been replaced accordingly. Now, next I want to replace the word gold, okay, with the word wood. So again, highlight column C, Control F, go back to replace. Find what? I want to find the word gold. Replace with, I want to replace it with the word wood. Okay, replace all done, we made 4 replacement. Okay, so here it shows that first find and replace can be applied for text data. All right, so if you can see from column A to column E, all of the data is in the form of text, alphabet, words. So this proves our theory that find and replace can be used for text data. All right, next let's try and prove if find and replace applies for numbers. And for this case, we will be using column F, open, all right? Let's say I want to replace number 8 with number 3. So example here, we have 1980, 1983. So we want to replace number 8 with number 3. So here, let's highlight column F, Control F to go to find and replace. Find what? We want to find number 8, and replace with, we want to replace it with number 3. Replace all done, we made 9 replacement. So here there is no longer number 8 in the data of column F. Every of the number 8, each of it has been replaced with number 3, right? So this proves our theory that find and replace, it helps for, it also, it can also be used for numbers data, right? Example for column F and also column G. So that is done. The third theory is, can we use find and replace for character or symbol? Example here, dot, okay, comma, alias, exclamation mark, any of the character and symbol that you have in your data, okay? Example here under column G, I have comma here, all right, and I want to replace it with dot, okay? So I want to show the speed in miles per hour correctly, okay? So here, let's highlight column G, Control F, go to replace, find what, we put comma, replace with, we put dot. All right, so let's click on replace all. Can Excel replace them? All right, the answer is yes. All done. We made 21 replacement. Okay, so now if you can see, all of the comma has now been replaced with dot, and now we can see the data for speed miles per hour is now accurate, right, for the roller coaster. So these are the first function or formula that I would like to share to boost your productivity, to reduce the time that you spend to find and replace the word, the character, or the number you want by using find and replace. Okay, right, so that part is done. Now let's go to the second one, which is, let me go back to the slide. Okay, so the second one is len. Okay, so len is very simple. Let me show you an example here. All right, so let's go to len. Let's open the file len name list. Okay, so len formula. All right, this is how we spell len. Okay, len. So len function is very simple. The purpose is to identify the number of characters in your data. Okay, so example here, I have a name list. Okay, a name list of about 4,000 lines. Okay, assuming I work in HR, all right, when my employee, okay, when all of the participants in the company has attended a training, okay, I have to prepare for them a certificate. All right, but let's say my certificate has a maximum number of character, okay, have a limit on how many characters of name I can put under the certificate. Let's say maximum here is 30 characters, all right? So how do I check, okay, whether all of their names, all of the participants, the employees' name, is it below 30 characters or does it extend more than 30 characters, okay? So for this, I can use the formula len, whereby I can identify the number of characters in my data. So to use len, it's very simple, right? You just start off with equal to, okay? Every single formulas in Excel, you must start it with symbol equal to or sama dengan lah, okay? So click here, just type in len, L-E-N, double click on the formula here, and you click on your data. In this part, this is the full name here, Nur Fadila binti Wandi, and you click on enter. So here, I found out that the number of characters that exists for the first name here, Nur Fadila binti Wandi, is only 21 characters. Therefore, the name itself, the full name, can be fit inside the certificate without me making any amendment because it doesn't reach the maximum character of 30. Okay, so I put my cursor here, bottom right, until I see a plus sign there across, and I just double click so that it applies to the rest of the data as well. Okay, so here I can say example here, row 5 and row 6, okay, it has already extend more than 30 characters. Therefore, I know I must decide, okay, how I can shorten their full name so it can fit inside the certificate. All right. So this is the second one, len, to identify the number of characters in your data. So instead of you try an error, okay, try to put in the name inside the certificate for an example, okay, whereby it has a condition of maximum 30 characters, you can actually help yourself, you can actually boost your productivity by identifying how many characters in advance before you create those certificate, before you input their names, okay? Right, so this is the second one, which is len function. Now, the third one is pivot table, okay? So pivot table is a summary table. So if you have a complex data with a lot of column, a lot of rows, hundreds or thousands of them, and you want to create a summary table, okay? An automated summary table, then you would be able to use pivot table, right? So now let me show you how does pivot table works. Okay, let's open an example of pivot table here. Okay. Right, so here, let me remove this first. Right, so we have a set of data here, all right, from a travel agency. So in column A, we have a country for the places that that the customers traveled to. Column B is the resort name that they choose. Column C is number of days they spend in each of this country and resort name. Column D is the travel method. Does the customer reach there via plane, train, or coach? All right, so coach here, it means bus. Column E is the sales, column F is the cost, column G is the price charged to the customers, and column H is the holiday ID, right? So for every booking made by the customers, Wise Owl travel agent will issue a holiday ID to each of their customers, okay? All right, so if you see under column K here, we put here example, all right, some of the summary table that we want, okay? First, we want to see the expenditure by country, okay? So we want a list of country and how much have we spent for each of the country. Second, we want expenditure by resort name. Number three, number of days by country. Number four, expenditure by travel method. And number five, here is the simplest one because it has already put here in detail what title you need to put in each quadrant. Example here, country under the row quadrant, travel method under the column quadrant, and price under the values quadrant. Okay, so we have number 1 until number 5 here, right? So let's try and create all of this pivot table, the summary table that we're talking about. Okay, right. So here, these are all of the data, okay? So you just put your cursor anywhere inside the data. You go inside your insert tab, and the first item that you'll see is pivot table, all right? So pivot table here easily arrange and summarize complex data in a pivot table. So when you click on pivot table, all right, you have two options, okay? Either you want your summary or pivot table to appear in a new worksheet, okay? Or you want it in the existing worksheet. So it's up to you. Sometimes people prefer for their pivot table to be in a new worksheet because they don't want to mess with their raw data, right? They want their raw data in one worksheet and all of their pivot table in another worksheet. So that can be done, okay, by clicking on new worksheet. Second, some people, they prefer their raw data, both their raw data and also the pivot table to be in the same worksheet. So if you are one of them, you can choose existing worksheet here, and under location, don't forget to choose where do you want to locate your pivot table, okay? Example here, the location that I choose is here, cell K9, okay? Click on one cell and then you just click on OK. Once you click OK, right, on the right side, there's pivot table fields that comes out, and you can see there are 4 quadrants in total, okay? So top left, you have filter, top right, you have column, bottom left, you have rows, and bottom right, you have values, okay? So let's say we want to do for the first one, expenditure by country, all right? So country, I'll click on country and it will appear under rows. And if I click on cost, it will appear under my values. So here, can you see this is a nice summary table to show the expenditure by country. For Australia, all right, Wise Owl travel agent have spent 210, for England 52, for France 980, Germany 240, Spain 1680, and the grand total is 4122. Okay, so now we have a nice summary table to show all of us, all right, what do we have here? Okay, so that is the first one, expenditure by country. Second, we want expenditure by resort name, okay? So it's either you can actually do back the pivot table. Example here, you just click back on insert tab, pivot table, existing worksheet, we do the same method and choose the location. So now I put it next to my first pivot table under the cell N9, okay? When you click on OK, the second one, what do we want? We want expenditure by resort name. So here I will click on the title resort name and then I'll click on cost. So here now I have my second pivot table or my summary table that shows my expenditure by resort name. Okay, so these are all of the resort name: Barcelona, Berlin, Black Forest, Bognor, Granada, and so on. Okay, and the grand total is again 4122. Okay, so this is for the second one. The third one, all right, what they do ask from us is they want to see a pivot table to show the number of days by country. So I imagine I have a list of country and how many number of days are spent in each of the country for all of the customers. Okay. So here, let's go to Insert tab, Pivot Table, Existing Worksheet. All right, location, let's put under number one pivot table. So I'll click here on cell K21. Okay, let's read the requirement again. Number of days by country. Okay, so country and also number of days. So here I can find out, all right, customers spend the highest at Spain, okay, followed by Australia and so on. Okay, now in pivot table itself, okay, by default Excel will do it this way. They will list down, okay, in alphabetical order A to Z. That's why you can see the first one is Australia and the final one is Trinidad for country. And for resort name, you can see the first one is Barcelona and we ends with Toulouse. So they put it from A to Z in alphabetical order, all right? So what if you want to put you want your pivot table here to be sorted from largest cost to smallest cost. All right. In this case, Spain would be the highest one, followed by France and so on. So you can actually sort your pivot table. All right. So how do you do that? Just click here on the drop down arrow on your pivot table. Okay. Go to more sort options. And here, can you see there's ascending and descending? So ascending means from lowest to highest. Okay. But what we want is highest to smallest. So here I will choose descending, and here at the drop down arrow, you must change from country to sum of cost because we want to show the highest to smallest at the sum of cost there. All right, so make sure you change from country to sum of cost. Once you click OK, can you see now Excel has helped you to sort your data in your pivot table from the highest number to the lowest number. Okay, starting with Spain and we end it with England. All right, so that is how you want to sort inside your pivot table. Okay. All right, so now let's go to the final one, expenditure by travel method. Okay, and then let's try and do for number 5, right? So for number 4, again, go to Insert tab, Pivot Table, Existing Worksheet. So location, let's choose down here in cell K33. Click OK. What do we want? We want expenditure by travel method. So I tick on travel method and then I tick on cost. So this is my 4th pivot table. What does it tell me is, okay, there's only 3 method of travel method that the customers take, okay, to go to their designated destination. It's either coach, okay, bus, plane, or even train. And this is the amount of cost that they have spent for each of the travel method accordingly. Okay, so the final one, this should be the easiest one because here it has tells us, okay, under row quadrant, we need to put country, under column quadrant, we need to put travel method, and under values quadrant, we need to put price. Okay, so let's create the final pivot table here, right? Same method. Insert tab, pivot table, existing worksheet, and location. Let's choose below pivot table number 4. Right, so let's follow the instruction. Row under country, country under row quadrant, right? Price under values, okay? And then travel method under column. However, take note, when you click on travel method, it was assigned under rows quadrant, right? So what do? Just click under travel method, okay? And then you just click on move to column labels. So now it has been moved to columns as per what has been instructed under number 5, okay? So this is how the pivot table looks like. Let me align everything to the center so it looks nice and neat, and let me apply comma as well. Okay, so here we can see for Australia, the customers only use one travel method, which is plane. Okay, and they don't use coach or train to reach to Australia. As for Spain, they have used all three travel methods, which are coach, plane, and also train. And these are the breakdown for the cost for each of the travel method, right? So if you want to create any summary table, you want it to be automated, okay, you can use PivotTable, whereby you can find it under Insert tab here, right? So now we have all five, 1, 2, 3, 4, and finally the fifth pivot table. Okay, so that is for pivot table. Now, before I move on to the next one, which is text to column and also VLOOKUP, all right, I want to show you final element of pivot table, okay, aside from the sort and filter. I want you to focus on this area, front, okay? So if I ask a question, all right, how many trip has been made to France? If you calculate France, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So there are 6 trips that they are going to France, okay, based on the customers. So that is the question. But if I tweak, all right, I tweak the question a little bit, whereby I ask, all right, how many resort name are there in France? Okay, so if I calculate correctly, right, we have 1 Lyon, 2 Paris Euro Disney, 3 Nice, 4 Toulouse, 5 is Nimes. Okay, but if I create my pivot table, it will definitely show 6 here. Okay, because there are 6 lines. So how can I ensure that my pivot table only show number 5? All right, it will exclude any row that has duplicate data. Example here, Paris Euro Disney appear twice. How can I ensure Excel only calculate them once and does not take into consideration those that has duplicate data, all right, or duplicate row there. Okay, so here I will introduce to you the concept of distinct count under pivot table. All right, so let's create a basic pivot table as per usual. All right, when we want to create distinct count, there is only 2 additional steps that you have to take, and I'll show you what are those 2 additional steps. So first, we just create pivot table as per normal. Okay, so go to Insert tab, Pivot Table, existing worksheet, and then choose your location. Let's say I choose here under cell A33. Now, before you click on OK, the first additional step is you need to click on Add this data to the data model. All right, so that is the first additional step that you need to do if you want to apply distinct count. So don't forget to tick here first, add this data to the data model, and then you click on OK. All right. Okay, so now your pivot table fields come out on the right and you have those 4 quadrants. Okay, so here I click on country, and then for resort name, I will put it under values quadrant. Okay, now can you see for front, it's still showing as 6. It does not show us the 5 types of resort name, right? So now I will show you the second additional step that you need to apply. Okay, so you go back to your pivot table fields. Okay, go under the values quadrant. Can you see your values quadrant is showing count of resort name? Okay, I want you to change from count to distinct count. So how can you do this is you click on the drop down arrow, go to the bottom one, value field settings, and then I want you to scroll to the bottom. And here you can see there's an option here for distinct count. Click on distinct count and then just click on OK. Now can you see your pivot table has now changed to number 5. All right, so it now shows you the number of how many types of resort name do you have by applying distinct count. Okay, so for distinct count, the first additional step is click on add this data to the data model. okay? And second, you need to change, okay? Change from count to distinct count, all right? Under values quadrant, okay? So this one you can use using value field settings, okay? So this is the two additional steps that you must apply if you want to perform distinct count inside pivot table, okay? So I hope by using pivot table, you have now increased your productivity to create any automated summary table that you want, okay? And you will be able to also customize how you want your summary table to be, right? So that is the third function. The fourth one is text to column. Okay, so let me show you an example of text to column here. Let me open a new worksheet. Okay, so this is called as text to column. Text to column is used if you want to separate your data. Okay, so first, where can we find text to column? It is under your data tab, data tools ribbon here. Can you see text to column? All right, so that is where you can find your text to column. So you can find it under data tab, data tools ribbon. Okay, wonderful. Now, let's say I have my full name here, all right, Adila Diana, and I want to separate this data to first name and also last name. Okay, so we have first name and last name there. All right, if we don't know the existence of text to column, what do? I would copy the word Adila, paste it under my first name, and then I would copy the name Diana and paste it under my last name. Okay, so this is fine. All right, it helps you to also achieve your objective of separating into your first name and last name, but it consumes a lot of your time, right? If there's only 10 names, that's fine. But what if you need to separate for hundreds of lines or thousands of lines? It may take you hours, or it may have taken you days to actually just separate your full name to first name and also last name. Okay, so here I will show you a function inside Excel called text to column, where you can separate your data easily. Okay, so you put your cursor under cell D6 here under your full name. Go to data tab, data tools ribbon, and you click on text to column. Okay, when you click on text to column, you would see there are two options, delimited and also fixed width. Now the next question comes is, when do I use delimited? When do I use fixed width? Okay, if your data, all right, let's say we have our full name, Adila space Diana, you want to separate them by first name and last name, right? Is there any character between my first name Adila and my last name Diana? Okay, Adila space Diana. Is there any character there? Any delimiters there? Okay, some may say no, some may say yes, which is the space, right? So the answer is yes, we do have a character there, a delimiter there, which is space, okay? Space is also considered as a character inside Excel. So if there is the character, you need to use delimited, all right? How about fixed width? Fixed width is when you don't have any character or delimiters when you want to separate your data. Example here, I have my employee ID, ABC123456. This is my employee ID, and I want to separate them by alphabet and also numbers. Okay, so here between C and number 1, there's no character or delimiters at all, correct? After C, straight away number 1. So if your data does not have any characters or does not have any delimiters, then you need to use fixed width. As simple as that. That is the differences between delimited and also fixed width. All right. So now going back to our full name, between the first name and last name, we do have a character there, which is space. So when I go to text to column, I will be using delimited. Once you click on delimited, go to next, okay? So on the left side here, you can see there's a lot of delimiters. Example here, tab, semicolon, comma, space, and other. Okay, so we have identified the character is space, okay, the delimiters is space, so I click on space here, click next, and then don't forget to update your destination here. You remove it first and click on where you want your first name to be located. In this case, I want it to be under cell E6 below the word first name, right? Once you have updated the destination, click on finish. Now, can you see my full name has been automatically separated, okay, into my first name in column A and my last name inside column F, okay, in just few seconds or few minutes, all right? So that is for the first example where the delimiter is a space, all right? Let me show you another example. Let's say here I have email address, okay, and I want to separate them by username and also domain name. Okay, so let's say my email address is adiladiana@gmail.com. Okay, right, make sure you right click, remove the hyperlink first. Okay, so my username is Adila Diana, my domain name is gmail.com. Okay, I want to separate my email address to username and domain name subsequently, right? So here, between my username and domain name, is there any character or delimiters, right? The answer is yes, it is the @ or alias symbol there. That separates my username and my domain name. So since there is a delimiter, a character, therefore I will be using delimited, okay? So put your cursor on your email address, click on text to column, delimited, next, okay? So alias symbol is not a tab, it's not a semicolon, it's not a comma, it's not a space, okay? So where do I put the alias symbol? You can tick under other, and on the right side here, under the empty box, don't forget to input the symbol alias. So in cases whereby, okay, your symbol is not listed up there, okay, among tab, semicolon, comma, or space, you can just click on other and you input the symbol or character inside the space on the right. Okay, example here. Click on next, make sure you update your destination. Okay, I want it to be here under cell I6, and then you click on finish. And now you can see my email address has been separated to username inside column I and my domain name under column J. Okay. Now that is two example of delimited. One, the delimiter exists. Second, it does not exist. Therefore, I need to use other. Now, the final one inside text to column is this employee ID, whereby between the alphabet and numbers, there is no delimiters or even character between them. All right. So since there are none, we will be using fixed width. All right. Click on fixed width, click on next. Now, you need to click in between C and number 1 here until you can see there's an upward arrow. That upward arrow would be your point of separation. Okay. All right. What if when you click, okay, you click at the wrong part? Okay. How do you remove the upward arrow? You just go to the arrow, you double click on them. There you see the arrow is removed. Okay. So in any case, you accidentally put the arrow in the wrong place. Okay. You just double click on the arrow, then the arrow would be removed. Okay. So here, let me just click between C and number 1 again. Click on next, update your destination. So it should be here, cell E9, okay, where I want my alphabet to be. You click on finish, okay. So in column E, I have my alphabet A, B, C, and under my column F, I have my numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay. All right. So the next question is, what if my employee ID, okay, it starts with alphabet, numbers, and then alphabet again. Example, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, D, E, F. Okay, can I still use text to column? Okay, the answer is yes. So you can use text to column, you can use fixed width. It's just that you need to put two upward arrow now. One arrow, the first one is between C and number 1, and the second one is between number 6 and the letter D. Okay, so let's do that together. Text to column, fixed width. Next, so the first one between C and number 1, the second one is 6 and D. Next, you update your destination here. Okay, just click on the first cell that you want your data to be at. Click on finish. So now the first alphabet is under column E, A, B, C. Numbers is under column F, and the last three alphabet is under column G, right? So with that, you have also increased your productivity, whereby you no longer have to spend a lot of time just to separate your desired data to different columns, okay? Right, so that is text to column. Now, finally, I want to show you VLOOKUP, all right? So let's have a look at VLOOKUP. How can we perform them? So let me open the file. All right, I want to show you this example here, okay? So here, one of the applications of VLOOKUP is we want to find information from another document, okay? So we have document 1 here under column K to column M. I have name, IC number, and also email address. And under document 2, I have IC number, email address, and also phone number. A lot of time, right? We receive 2 documents, okay, and then we have to compare, right? So, or even if you want to find information from the other document, right? So here, let's say I received document 1 and document 2 from my manager, and she asked me, Adila, can you please find the email address and put it under document 1? Okay, you can cross-check with document 2, okay? Previously, what do? We open document 1, we open document 2, okay, we sort it A to Z, and then we compare side by side, correct? And then we copy paste one by one, okay? If let's say I see the same IC number here in document 2, then I copy the email address, I paste under document 1, right? That may be one of the way, okay, that we use to find information from another document, right? So now you don't have to do all of that. You can just apply VLOOKUP formulas, okay? Now, the first thing that you must remember for VLOOKUP is it must have similarities, at least one, okay? Must have similarities. So when you look at document 1 and document 2, right, they are exactly same set of data inside document 1 and document 2, which is IC number that I've highlighted the cell in green. So before you do VLOOKUP, you need to check the document. Is there any relation between them? Do they have any similarity? At least one, all right? If the more, the better it is, okay? So since they have one similarity IC number, all right, that looks like it's good, we can use VLOOKUP, right? The second condition is, now inside document 1, okay, I want to find email address, correct? And the column that is the same is IC number. Now, if I want to VLOOKUP to document 2, I need to make sure email address here, it exists after the IC number column. Okay, so to put it simply here, the required data column, okay, I'll just put here in simple word, okay, the required data column must be after the similar column, right? So the similar column is IC number. So if we want the email address column here under document 2 must be after the similar column, which is IC number, right? So what if between IC number and email address, there's another 10 column between them? That is fine. It still fits the condition number 2 here. It is after similar column. It can be side by side like this, or if there are any column between them, that is fine as well. But what if your required data column here, email address exists before IC number column? If that is the case, you need to copy, okay, and then you have to make sure the email address is after your IC number column. Only then VLOOKUP will work, right? So remember these two conditions here, okay? So now I will show you how can we apply VLOOKUP to easily find the email address by VLOOKUP document 1 to document 2, all right? So here, let's start off with equal to VLOOKUP, VLOOKUP. Double click on the formula, and can you see above column K here, you see the letter FX, or we call it as insert function. I want you to click on the FX. Your function arguments will come out, okay? And you have 4 rows to fill in. First is the lookup value, second table array, third column index number, and the final one is range lookup, okay? So under lookup value is very simple. You just highlight the column that is similar, okay, from your document 1 first. So lookup value, I will highlight column L, the IC number here, okay? Now, put your cursor into table array. Okay, now you can open your document 2, all right? Table array is very simple. You highlight from the point of the similar column up to the required column. So here I highlight from IC number until email address. I highlight column Q until column R. If let's say your IC number is in column Q, your email address is in column Z, right? So you highlight from Q up until column Z, okay? Now put your cursor under column index number. Column index number is very simple. Just now, right, under table array, you highlight columns, right? You highlight column Q until column R, all right? Can you please calculate for me, count for me how many columns that you highlight under table array? Okay, you highlight 2 columns, column Q and also column R. So under column index number, you put number 2. And finally, under range lookup, you put 0. Why do I say put 0 here? Because let's see here clearly, right? When you put 0 here, it is showing as false. And at the bottom here, you can see false is equivalent to find an exact match. Okay? I want to find an exact match. I don't want to find the closest match. What if one person name is Adila Amira, second is my name Adila Diana. So confirm Adila Amira comes out first, right? Because AA, mine is AD, okay? So if you don't put 0, okay, it will help you to find the closest match. Therefore, Excel will pick up the name Adila Amira, not Adila Diana, okay? So this is why I say for range lookup, put 0, because 0 is equivalent to false, and false means find an exact match, okay? Click on OK, click on yes, and here can you see automatic, I can find the email address using VLOOKUP in just few seconds or few minutes without comparing side by side, okay, which takes a lot of my time, okay? So that is VLOOKUP, all right? And we have covered all of the 5 functions and formula that may help you to boost your productivity inside Excel. So we've covered find and replace. We've covered LAN, how you can identify how many number of characters in Excel. Pivot table, automated summary table, text to column, how do you separate your data, and VLOOKUP, all right? This is particularly useful if you want to find information or compare data with another document, all right? With that, that's all that I wanted to cover for today. Thank you so much for joining the webinar session, all right? And I hope you would be able to apply any of these 5 functions that I shared at your workplace or any other places that you wanted to use them, okay? With that, again, thank you so much from me, and I return the session to Kak Rose. Okay, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Adila, for your insightful presentation. We appreciate your expertise in sharing these valuable Excel hacks. Okay, to all our audience, thank you for being part of today's learning hour. If you have any question, please feel free to ask them now. We will give a moment to collect any questions. Any questions? Okay, looks like we do not have any question today. Okay, it's okay. We hope you have gained valuable insight from today's sessions. Yeah. All right. As displayed on your screen, we have some upcoming public courses. For those interested, we have Microsoft Excel Basic courses scheduled for September 7th, followed by Intermediate and Advanced and Microsoft Power BI on September 13 and 14. For more details or to register, please contact us and please follow our social media and get to know our upcoming programs. With that, we conclude today's session. Thank you and goodbye. Thank you, Adila.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.